Hi Booktube, it's Stephanie. So today I'm finally filming my May wrap-up. So May was a pretty good month reading-wise. I finished a lot of manga, but I did read a pretty good amount of books. I enjoyed myself, so there's that. I also had my vacation to a friend who lives in the northern part of Sweden, and unfortunately that put me a little bit in a slump because I couldn't really read the books I was in the middle of because they were more time consuming mentally because it was new worlds. So I read books that I already knew very intimately the world, so that I didn't need to be as fully invested because to remember things and things like that because I already knew. So that was a bit of a bummer, but I had a great time there, so there was that. So the first two, well, I typically go in the order of in the way I read the books in, unless I read several books in the same series, for instance a manga series. And the first two things that I finished was volume 4 and 5 then of the Demon Diary series, and yeah, again, there's not that much connection in between volumes. There's not too much of a red thread. It feels like it should have been more expanded on. The world is nice. I am enjoying some of the banter, but it doesn't feel like this story has a lot of body to it. But it's enjoyable. It's nice reading. So there's that. Then I finished this one. That time I got Reincarnated as a Slime, volume 15, created by Fused, manga by Taiki Kawakami, and it's Blinding You. I love this manga series, which I'm sure you're aware of, but this one pictures of the events after a war. I'm not going to say anything else by that, and builds up to the next arc in the story. And I really like this. I like the slight break we got, and I'm really looking forward. I've already read the next volume, but I'm really looking forward to the next build up in this series. Then I finished The Hidden Witch by Malin Oxford, which is the second graphic novel series that started with The Hidden Witch, and I like this. We are still following Aster and his friend and him trying to learn magic as a witch. Yeah, I don't really have anything to say, but there's basically, well, the title kind of says everything. There is a hidden witch, and who is this hidden witch? And it goes, is stuff going wrong? The answer is yes. Yeah, I liked it. It wasn't, I prefer the first one, but I still enjoy this one. I don't really know what else to say because, yeah, I liked it, and I will read the third one because I do think there's a third one. So yeah. And then I read one of my most anticipated books this year, Fugitive Telemetry by Martha Wells, which is book number 6 or novella number 6 in the Murderbot Diary series. I love this. In this one, Murderbot, this is a prequel to the novel, which is the 5th book. I would say yes, you can read this before the novel, but you can't read this before you read the first 4 novellas. Murderbot is investigating a murder. I really liked it, and I hope that we get some more of that because it was so much fun to have all these people being kind of scared of Murderbot because they know that Murderbot is a sec unit and Murderbot doesn't care. And yeah, I just love it. I love the fact that Murderbot communicates with other bots, like, hi, did you see anything like this? Did you see this person? And the humans go like, why are you asking them? Because they know. They see everything. We're not blind. But yeah, I really liked it. And yeah, I love this so much. It was better than the novel, I will say that. But since I've started listening to this series on Storytel, I might do a reread with listening to all of them. I have finished the first one. It would help to get my Storytel ratio up, so yeah. But yeah, I really like this one. Then I started the Captor Sakura series, and I read the first volume. The one that I had gotten out was the second book for the second series. So that didn't help. And then you couldn't find the second book because they didn't have the second volume out anywhere, so I needed to get an omnibus. And at first I got the wrong one omnibus, so I needed to wait for the... It was a thing. But the first one, we are following Sakura, who opens this book, and the guardian of these books, or these cards, he fell asleep and all the cards escaped because they have a mind of their own. And yeah, Sakura becomes the card captor, and she needs to collect all these cards to keep them safe and prevent them from causing any mischief. I liked it. It was a good introduction. Oh, and the author is Clamp, which is a group of 4 women. And yeah, I like this. I did go through the journey of finding the omnibuses. But yeah, it was nice. I can't really say too much. It did have that magical girl thingamajig, but I love the fact that in most of the... I'm just gonna sit correctly. Way more comfortable now. Mostly in these transforming girl, like Sailor Moon type stories, the person gets a new outfit when they activate their power. She does, Sakura doesn't, but she has a very rich friend who loves to make outfits, and every time Sakura is going out on one of these, I need to catch some cards, she goes, here's a new outfit, put it on. I just thought that was really funny. I did like the fact that she doesn't get an outfit, she just have this magical stick, but her friend's like, no, you need one. I thought that was really funny. So yeah, I liked it, and I am finished with the first series, so I just need to go on with the sequel. Then I got By the Grace of the Gods, Volume 2, story by Roy and art by Ran. And this follows on to the first one, in which we are following a middle-aged man who dies in our world and gets asked by these gods if he could, if he would like to get to their world, because they feel like his life was unfair, and also if he does that, they can bring with him, they can bring in some magic, because their world is run by magic, but the magic is running out, but Earth doesn't use it, so they sometimes regularly bring in people like him to restock the magic in this world. And the first one was basically an introduction to that, and we also have him meeting this aristocratic family who's traveling around, and he decides to go with them because he has been alone for a couple of years. I love the fact like he uses slime, that's what he does. But in this one we are getting a bit more world building, we get a bit more of a view on, because as I said, he's not the first person who have gone into this world, so we get a bit more information of what has happened to some of the other people who have come from his world, what they have been doing in this one, generations past. So yeah, I have been enjoying this and I can't wait to continue on with this series. Then I finished the third and final book in the Three Dragon Society series, and that would be The Three Dragon Tapestry by Kay O'Neill. This was a slight disappointment for me. I liked it for what it was, but I felt like basically in this volume the author pulls from the other two volumes that came before it and you have some character and we meet, like all the character meets up, which is nice. But this is the third volume, so it didn't feel really fulfilling or anything like that. It felt like a cute epilogue, the entire thing. I felt I wanted more from this series, and yeah, it didn't feel fulfilling. It felt like a small epilogue. But then we have that these characters from the two first, they know each other, so it doesn't feel like it's just like they know each other, do they? What? Okay, I didn't know that they knew each other. Well, yes, but like it didn't feel fulfilling. So it's not the highest rated book I have read. I enjoy the art style, enjoy the story elements, how Kay has been incorporating these things, but yeah, this was a slight letdown, especially since I really enjoyed the second one. Was definitely my favorite, but yeah. And then I finished the novella Burning Roses by S.L. Huang. Yes. And this one is a kind of weird one. I read some reviews afterwards, and I can definitely understand what some people meant, but I liked it. But what we are following two middle-aged women who, after they have had adventurous life, their life have been very occupied. They are friends or friendly, in between acquaintances and friends, basically. And after a nearby village gets attacked by these firebirds, they need to go and stop a person. And on the way to that person, I think the synopsis call her the Robin Hood character, gets the Red Riding Hood character to tell her story. Why did she escape from her home country? Why did she flee? And we get that story. So we have these parallel stories of both of them. And it's basically a story in which you have these middle-aged women who, especially from the person's point of view that we're following, we have her telling her story and explain, she tells what she knows that she did wrong and just coming to terms with that. And then we get the other person's stories in small chunks, and I love that. There was something about that I just felt connected, because we are following her working through her life and the mistakes she made and the choices she made and what she made wrong, why she decided to flee. And at the same time we are following the opposite, but we are still in the Red Riding Hood's point of view, in which the other character that has not come to terms or accepted what she did wrong, this defense, nothing, this happened, I was betrayed by this person who we are hunting, I had nothing to do with that betrayal. It was not my fault, anything, that defense mechanism. This was a short novella, and I can understand why people didn't like it, but I think people got too hung up with the like Red Riding Hood, and from what I understand, it's more of a Chinese Robin Hood character. I think that people got too hung up on those points, like, oh, it's kind of like retellings. It is, but I just found it more like Easter eggs. Like, this wasn't the true thing. Like, yeah, I saw it basically more like Easter eggs, or a way to introduce an element or a character and have this story, like Goldilocks is in here, like just to have those sprinkle in, so that, like, yeah, there was something about that that I just felt was, yeah, I liked it, and I didn't feel too, yeah, I can understand why people were confused. I can get that, but I did not care. I just like them. It's not a high-paced story. We have two middle-aged women again, who, they are not 20 years old. They don't have the stamina. They have cramps. They have problems. They can't just go on for days without having to sleep. Like, I like that, and I enjoyed this story, but I can definitely see why some people wouldn't. So the last story that I finished off this month with was Overlord 1, The Undead King by Kugane Murayama. Now, this is a very busy cover to start with. Like, that is a person, by the way. It's not a part of the mountain. I actually think that kind of looks cool, because from a distance it just looks like some mountains. It's not. But this is one of those stories that I enjoy reading about and just love picking up, in which we have a character from our world who gets stuck in a gaming world. And basically, this gaming world called Valhalla is closing down, and our main character, Momoma, basically decides to stick around, and he's the only one in his guild that does stick around. He has been alone. He has been keeping this guild alive for several years without any of his guild members helping or being there. And some of them have quit playing at all. Others have basically just, they don't have time for it. And this one was so emotional for me, because I could connect with the main character in that instance so much, because I have the same problems when I join groups in games. Especially if there's no chat, I have no problem with it, but when it's a chat and you can talk to people, it feels like if I leave, I will abandon things. So I could just relate to the frustration, and like, I'm alone. Yeah. And he sticks around. However, when the servers are supposed to close, nothing happens. He's still in the game. He hasn't been kicked out. And he's like, okay, what's going on? And the NPCs of this place that have been created by the other members of the guild, because they're artists, they know computer code, they know stories, like this dungeon or this keep that they have built up. They have built this up with their hearts and souls. It's just, it's been several years and they have done different things. And all of a sudden, these NPCs are basically started to act like humans. Like, they obey him because they are supposed to obey him, but they're not really NPCs anymore. And when he asked a spy to go outside, it turns out that they are no longer at the location where they should be in Valhalla. And it's like, okay, what do I do now? I don't have access to my hub. I can't log out. I can't see the statistics that I used to. What's going on? What am I going to do? And I enjoyed this. As I said, the beginning was way more emotional than I thought it was going to be for me, but it is a pretty short one, and it is a bit info dumpy, but I felt like when it comes to info dumping, this made it more into like a story. This person knows how to put info dumping in a way that doesn't make it feel like you're reading a textbook. Like, plop, here's the info dump, now we can continue on with the story. It was way more weaved into the actual story. Sure, there were certain sentences and things like that, but then again, those point of view were from a person from our world who's used to playing this game, who like knows this information, because like that has a stat of that has an energy stat of that. And yeah, I really like this story, and I do have the sequel, and I'm really looking forward to getting to that one. So that was the 10 things that I finished off in May. We'll see when I get to film the June one. Yeah, but that's what I finished. What was your favorite book that you read in May? Please tell me down below, and I will see you next time. Bye.